Hi, you're watching Office Hours Dartmouth Edition. I'm Clark.
And I'm Jay, and
we're your hosts for today. Today we have Mark here with us. He's a 14, and we're going to talk a little bit about course selection. But first we'll introduce ourselves. Like I said, I'm Clark. I am a 13 here, which means I'm a sophomore, and I am majoring in history modified with art history and a potential minor in either international studies or Spanish.
I'm Jay. I'm also a 13, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm majoring in engineering and economics.
I'm Mark. I'm a 14, so first year. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I'm hoping to major in government and history.
Very nice.
So alluding to a little bit of what Clark was talking about, we have a very busy week here at Dartmouth. It's course selection. People are signing up for their classes as we speak, and that will be done by Thursday. So right now people are frantically searching online through our books of courses and stuff like that, looking for what classes they want to take and figuring out to sign up. So we're going to chat a little bit with you guys about what it means to be taking classes at Dartmouth, how you sign up for them, and just what it's like being a student at Dartmouth and looking at Dartmouth from more of an academic side than we usually look at.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions, like always, we have our chat here, and we can answer some of those questions towards the end. Jay mentioned that we have our course catalog. This is the ORC, as we call it. It's got tons of information in here. If you're a person like me who prefers to look through a hard copy, you know, it's nice to have it in your room. I like to sit there with a with a highlighter or a pen and go through and mark things up. But my friends prefer it online. And actually, all the courses are online, and you can actually see them as prospective students. So you can go through and look at all the departments and all the courses that are offered.
We'll get a link of the ORC page up on the chat for you guys to be able to take a look at. Go through some of the courses, and take a peek at what you might be interested in and see what some of the Dartmouth courses are like.
Definitely, definitely. So have you guys decided what courses you want to take for next term?
Jay, have you?
Yeah, I actually am finishing deciding, been talking to some of my advisors, some of my friends, my mom, trying to figure everything out, exactly what classes I want to take. I'm pretty finalized right now, so I haven't gone through my sign-up process yet, but I'm about ready to do that. Mark, have you figured out yours?
Yeah, I actually just yesterday submitted my final class selection.
Really?
After 4 or 5 phone calls from my parents and getting my making sure they approved after a while and talking to my dean a little bit.
It's really important that they approve of what classes you're taking.
Yeah, no, it is, because my first round did not go so well in my father's eyes, and immediately after that I kind of thought about it a little more, and they eventually were okay with it.
Well, what classes are you taking this term?
This term I am taking my freshman seminar, which is a small class with about 18 people in it.
Okay.
I am also taking comparative politics, so an intro government class.
Oh, very nice.
And I am also taking introductory Spanish.
Oh, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So just very quickly, I'll touch on a couple of requirements that Mark talked about. He's in his first year seminar, so all first year students are required to take a writing seminar. Mark's in his now. Clark took his last year. I took mine last year. You guys will hopefully take one when you're here in the next couple of years. But that's a class that has a specific topic and is taught in a specific department. And it's really just about, I think you guys would agree with me, reading articles and stuff like that, reading books, and just writing papers about that. And it really teaches you how to write as a college student. So no more TES, no more 5-paragraph essays, anything like that. They kind of recreate your perspective on writing and writing as a college student. So those
Absolutely.
are used to help people. And they're offered in all departments, so anything from engineering to English to Spanish to music, anything you can imagine, there's a first-year seminar offered. And so all students take that, and you'll experience that. But that's one of the requirements.
Yeah, definitely. You guys should check out the other office hours that was devoted specifically to first-year seminars and writing with Professor Kalish. As you may have noticed, they both have worked on their course selection. I have not chosen my courses for the winter because I actually won't be on in the winter. Dartmouth has a very specific academic schedule, which we'll talk a little bit about today, which is the D Plan, the Dartmouth Plan. Basically, a little bit of history. When the college went co-ed in the 70s, there weren't exactly enough beds on campus for all of the students, and so they had to create this new creative way to approach the academic term, and they developed the D Plan. So that way students can go off at different times of the year, and back then they were able to house as many students as they could for the different terms, Now it's become a point of pride and part of Dartmouth culture. And so we'll talk a little bit about the D plan now. There is an image that is going to be shown to you of the D plan. The image is on the screen. As you can see, there are 3 R's. The D plan is an academic quarter system schedule, and that goes fall, winter, spring, and summer. As you can see, you are required to be on campus the fall, winter, and spring of your first year and your senior year, and the summer of your sophomore year. And the rest of those terms can either be on-campus residence terms or study abroad terms or leave terms, like a summer vacation type thing. And different people do different things with their D plans. For instance, this summer I did an off-campus term with the Russian department doing my language study abroad program in Russia. So I lived in St. Petersburg for 2.5 months. Jay, since you've experienced an off term as well, what were you doing this summer?
Yeah, I experienced an off term, and I went home, back to Cleveland, worked at a summer camp, cut some yards, just kind of hung out, enjoyed my time to myself with my family and my friends back at home. So there's definitely a wealth of opportunities of things to do over off terms, whether it is having an internship, studying abroad, laying on your couch, or just spending time doing something that you really love. I just want to back up for 1 second really quickly to talk about the D plan. So the D plan is the Dartmouth Plan, and it is our academic calendar at Dartmouth. Like Clark talked about, we're very unique. We're on the quarter system, which is unlike a lot of other colleges. It's something that's unique to Dartmouth and really creates a strong sense of community within Dartmouth, like being on that system.
Absolutely.
And something that it also does is it gives an opportunity for students to be studying and taking classes all year long. So some schools, while they have their fall and spring semester, summer term is happening for us where we're here taking classes, and that option is available, whereas at other schools there aren't classes. So the Dartmouth Plan is unique, and it's a little different, but it gives you an opportunity to really be flexible with what you want to do in your life so that you can first be a student and go to college, but also have these great worldly experiences and do different, very interesting things whenever you can fit it into your schedule. So
absolutely.
Yeah, something that I really appreciate about Dartmouth is in the summers, a lot of my friends who are older and go to other schools have been going for internships and stuff like that, and so it's a very popular time to get internships. So they're
competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're a little more competitive. So with the Dartmouth Plan, since there is that required residence term over sophomore summer, that leaves room for that requires you to take an off term and be off campus, not taking classes during fall, winter, or spring term of either your sophomore or junior year. So whether you choose to take that and study abroad or something like that, or go ahead and get an internship when there are more available or less students competing for them, I think that it's something that's really valuable and kind of gives Dartmouth students somewhat of an advantage.
Absolutely. For instance, this summer I did, when I was studying in Russia, that didn't count as a leave term for me. So I'm taking my leave term this winter, and I'm going to be doing an internship in New York. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
But we should talk a little bit about what the D plan means for students who are on campus.
Absolutely, especially because that D plan that you guys looked at was full of all R's, required residence term. So we could talk all day and all night about these extremely valuable and all these opportunities that are available for off terms. But the truth of the matter is we're here for 12 of our 15 terms on campus taking classes. So we just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what it means to be a student and be on campus and doing stuff like that here with the D plan. So as Clark said, just to reiterate, because it's something that I think is very important, you're in residence here at Dartmouth taking classes for fall, winter, and spring terms of your freshman year and your senior year, and then the summer after your sophomore year. So what does that mean for you guys to be here in a residence term? Mark, maybe you want to talk about it because this is your first term in residence. So
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's been really great being here on my first residence term. Haven't done too much thinking about when I'm going to take off yet and, get that first stay home, get an internship or anything like that. But I've definitely really enjoyed being on campus. The way living works your first year is that all first years live in different clusters. So you're living with all students, you're all freshmen living together, forming these great bonds. And you actually really become very good friends with people on your floor. Speaking of which, Jay is actually my UGA or undergraduate advisor for my floor. So we hang out all the time on the floor, meeting good friends.
That's so funny. Are you enjoying your first residence term?
I'm enjoying it so much. I'm really loving it. Besides just being great dorms and being a beautiful campus, I really just love the people here and love the community that's being fostered.
Yeah, so it's really great. So there are all these things happening outside of the classroom, but we're here to take classes. And so at a lot of other schools that are on the semester system, you're in a semester which is something like 15 weeks long, and you take 5 classes. At Dartmouth, since we're on quarters, our terms are compressed a little shorter to go along with the season. So our terms are actually only 10 weeks long, so that's 10 weeks of classes. And during that time, instead of taking a full 5 or 4 classes like what some people at schools on semesters do, we only take 3 classes as a regular load during a residence term. So yeah, when we're on campus, we're taking 3 classes. Any sort of mix from anything to, like Mark said, Spanish in a seminar or anything like that. But yeah, we're doing that. So since they are 10 weeks, so we're learning in 10 weeks what people in other schools are learning in 15 weeks.
So we move fast. That's why we only take 3.
Right.
Instead of 5. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if we had to do 5 in a term?
It would be crazy.
It would be just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very crazy. It's very fast-paced life. Midterms, you start the term, 3 weeks in, you have your first set of midterms, 6 weeks in, your second set, and then the term is over. We have about 2 more weeks left in this term, and I feel like I just got back for this fall term. So time definitely flies by, but at the same time, it keeps stuff interesting. You're not...
absolutely. It keeps your classes fresh. By the time you get bored of your classes, they change up.
Exactly.
It's great.
So it's nice, and there's a lot of flip-flopping in between different classes and opportunities to take something different. And if you really dislike a class, it's only 10 weeks long, so you're going to be done with it soon. And if you really love it, profs teach all sorts of different classes, so you can get into another similar class with that prof.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many classes that are offered at Dartmouth. As a matter of fact, in 2009, 1,685 classes were offered, and there were 977 independent studies, which is amazing. That's just amazing that people are taking that opportunity to go out, you know.
So just think about that. I don't even know if I have 1,685 heads on my hair, but there are 1,600 hairs on my head. But there are 1,685 classes offered in 2009. So that's a
plethora of options.
Yes. So there's so much to do. So that could get overwhelming, having that many classes to choose from.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had a really hard time choosing my 3 classes for the next term, our winter term. So,
but fortunately, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, people like Mark are put in the capable hands of Jay with their undergraduate advisors.
I've given you some pretty sound advice, wouldn't you say?
He's been pretty helpful. I'd say. I've definitely asked him for advice on which professors I should go for, which I might want to avoid, and which he particularly likes.
Absolutely. So, and we have everyone gets an undergraduate advisor. An academic advisor for your first year, and you have to choose a major advisor when you go to your major, and we all have deans. There's a lot of advising that happens on campus, I feel like. And if any of those people can't help you, the best resource is to go to people who have actually taken those classes. You know,
Absolutely.
People who have sat through those tests, people who have dealt with those professors. And so talking to students is honestly some of the best ways to learn about classes.
Absolutely. And last spring, at the end of my freshman year, I was going through a lot of talks and stuff like that with some people involved in student government and some people on the administration, talking about reshaping and reforming advising, because a lot of students complain that there are too many resources to turn to, which I don't feel like. I just feel like that there are different resources to turn to.
Absolutely.
So if you're better fit talking to a dean or an adult who's a little older, a little wiser, that's there for you. Or if you want to talk to your undergraduate advisor who lives with you and it's a little more of a personal connection, that's there for you. But like Clark said, I think that what a lot of people agree with, that one of the best resources are older students who have taken the classes. So while I'm picking my classes right now, I've talked to some members of my fraternity or some of my friends who are a year older, or some of my friends who are even in my grade who have already taken some of these classes and know these professors, asking them, hey, what do you think about this professor? Like, do you think that this class is hard? Is there a lot of work? Anything like that. So it's really easy to collect a lot of information. The hard part is sitting down and filtering that information and finding out what you want to do with your time.
Yeah, and as a 14, I feel like the advising is particularly helpful, or as a first year, that is. in that, I mean, I feel like every day I'm getting another blitz from some organization on campus, or just really blitz being an email or email service, looking to help me out, looking to, you know, meet with my individual dean to go over my class selection, coming from my UGA, coming from really anyone around campus, just saying, you know, if you really want help, if you really aren't sure what to take, we're always here for you. And I found that really helpful. You know, you come into your first term, or now for me going to be my second term, you don't really know what's going on that well, and you're not sure which professors are good, what you want to major in. It's just really nice having all of these outlets to go to.
Absolutely. And I think, what are the ways that you go about choosing courses? Because I know Jay and I are very different in that Jay's doing engineering, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you knew coming into school that you pretty much wanted to do engineering. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. Still not really sure.
Yeah.
So I think our course selection process has been very different.
We've gone through a very different process. And after we talk about this, Mark will be able to kind of, I guess, decide which one he's going to be and be the tie-breaking vote or something like that. But I came to school very sure that I wanted to be an economics major. And then about halfway through fall term, decided that engineering was something that I was interested in and wanted to pursue. So when I'm signing up for classes, I have two majors. Engineering is a pretty time-intensive major and stuff like that. So with my course selection, I've had to take a very structured schedule to be able to fit in all my classes for both my majors and have all my lab classes and stuff like that going on. So for me, I've had basically my whole schedule has been laid out for me, and I've just been taking classes that I'm like supposed to take and need to take for my majors throughout my whole time. But I'm sure that you have had a different experience.
Mine is the complete opposite. I came into Dartmouth knowing for sure that I wanted to major in Russian language and literature. And I knew that I had a little bit of flexibility because Dartmouth is great in that you don't have to declare your major until the end of your 5th term in residence. So that's generally the middle or end of your sophomore year. So I knew I had 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do. But I was dead set on double majoring in Russian language, literature, and government. And I went through the first year, you know, tried out a major in English and a major in theater. I took some classes that sounded interesting and some classes that other people told me I should take, and I had a great time, but I kind of just bounced around from place to place, just waiting to find something that I really loved. And then finally, my spring term, I realized that one thing I had loved in high school was art history. And so I took an art history course that dealt with the Orozco murals in the Reserves Library in Baker, world-renowned murals that we got to work with firsthand. And that's when I realized, one, the amazing resources that Dartmouth has for art history and for art in general. And just the professors were great, and the department was small but not too small, that it was a niche community, you know. I just had a great time. And then I went away to Russia this summer and had a very unique experience living in Russia, and decided that maybe Russian isn't exactly for me. And I came back this year and I decided to create my own major of sorts within the history department by modifying my history major with art history. So I take most of my classes in the history department, about 8 of them, and then 4 of them from the art history department, to create a history of architecture or some kind of major. And I still don't know what I want to do with it, but I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to take a bunch of different courses in different fields. And I hope that it works out.
Absolutely. So before Mark breaks the tie, obviously you guys can see that there is a spectrum, and I wouldn't even say that Clark and I are at opposite ends, because some people are so dead set and know what they love, and they come here to pursue that passion of theirs, and they stick with that. And some people just come and have absolutely no idea and are bouncing around even more so than Clark. But the great thing about Dartmouth is that with all this help around you and with all these classes and this flexible schedule, it's so easy to be able to do either one of those things and have a great experience and come out being successful in the end.
Absolutely. And because of the distributive requirements, we're kind of required to bounce around a little bit. We have 8 distributive requirements that span the various departments on campus, which allow us to take courses in different departments that are interesting to us, and sometimes you stumble upon a major that you never even knew you were going to be interested in.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that speaks a lot. I'm sure that you guys hear a lot in your college searching process of people switching their major, and that's something that's very easy to do, but at the same time, like I've said, it's also very easy to know what you love and come in and want to do that. So Mark, Break this tie for us.
All right, well, I'm happy to say that I am actually pretty confident what I want to major in here at Dartmouth.
Good for you.
But I am more towards your field, Clark, and that I want to double major in government and history most likely. But that being said, just, to all prospective students, most first years are not very sure what they want to major in. They really don't know if they're interested in econ or government or math or history. It can be anything. And
everyone's pre-med for the first term.
Yes. a lot of first years I know are just slowly and quickly, or not so slowly, dropping out of the pre-med program.
But a lot of people stick with it.
But a lot of people like it. Though it is challenging. And but I found a lot of help within the departments I've been focusing on. So in my first term, right away, I was able to take comparative politics, which is just a really great government intro class that I'm in right now. And then already next term, I'm going to be taking an American Foreign Relations class in the history department. So it's really the school does a really great job of helping me at least to get right into what I was interested in, provide me all these great options, and I've really been able to take advantage of them.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that you touched on was being able to take classes that you might not be able to take other places as a first year. All of our classes are determined by a lottery system. So I've been lucky thus far that I've never not gotten into a class, knock on wood, that I wanted to be in. I've always gotten my first choice of classes. And I know some of my friends at other schools are always complaining about how they have to wake up at 7 in the morning on the day of course selection and make sure that they submit their courses if they want to get the courses that they want, but we have a period of time to select them. And then even if you don't like those, we have about a 2-week-long shopping period at the beginning of every term where you're encouraged to go from class to class and get syllabi from professors and talk to people, try out the homework, see which one has the less expensive book. Yeah. Maybe I only do that. And then make your decisions based on that. And, I like that.
Yeah, so signing up for classes are very easy. And like Clark alluded to, it is a lottery system, so there's a period of about a week, and it's declared course selection period. We're in the middle of it right now, and at the end of this period, which ends on Thursday, the course selection will close down. You type in your courses online, so at 4 p.m. on Thursday, the link goes inactive, and if you didn't get into your classes, you have to wait till the beginning of the term to sign up. But that's how it's done, and then later in the next week, you check your schedule online, and it is a lottery system, so Clark has been very fortunate and gotten all 3 of his classes. Sometimes it happens that you don't. Once I was unlucky and didn't get into a class, but it was easy to figure out another option, and that's what's nice about the flexibility of plans and stuff like that. But there's no preference really, speaking overall, to a junior as opposed to a sophomore or a freshman signing up for classes. So that's something that's very nice.
Absolutely. To
be able to have access to all those.
And the classes that I've experienced are all very small. My biggest class has been a 20-person introductory class. And what the professors like to do, instead of adding more people to the class to make it bigger, is just to add another section, which is great because then you can keep it small and keep it intimate. I mean, we have our student-teacher ratio is 1 to 9. And all first years have small classes with their Writing 5 class or their first year seminar class. And those are actually capped. So there can't be more than 18 people in those classes.
Right. All right, well, we have a question on the chat, just so you guys know our time's winding down. So post your questions if you have anything you want to ask.
Get them in fast.
Yeah, we'll answer them. So this is a very interesting question and something that I actually struggled with when coming to Dartmouth.
Okay.
It comes from Joe B. He says, I really want to go to business school and work in corporate finance, specifically for a venture capital investment firm that focuses on healthcare. How is the pre-business program?
Well, the pre-business program actually doesn't exist. We don't have a pre-business program, Joe. But we do have the Tuck School of Business, which is a graduate school here at Dartmouth. And actually last spring, they just started offering undergraduate courses. So you can take one of 3 courses, a marketing course, an accounting course, or a management course. And I'm actually currently taking the marketing course. And it's really great because I get to talk one-on-one with a Tuck professor, and I get to live like a Tuck student for a term.
They live in really nice accommodations.
Yeah, they live in the Tuck living places or whatever, but I get to feel like I'm a Tuck student for 10 weeks. And And it's nice. It's a nice way to get a feel of what business school would be like, what the business world would be like. But we don't have a major in business. We have a major in economics that you can do if you want. But one thing that my professor has really stressed is that there is no one major that prepares a person more for business.
Exactly.
I think it's more like life skills that prepare you for business.
Exactly. And just an interesting side fact, when I was choosing colleges and applying and looking at schools, I was 110% sure that I wanted to go to business school, and I still am, but I fell in love with Dartmouth when I visited, so that's why I'm here. But time and time throughout, talking to advisors and people about business and that kind of track, I've been advised that you can really do whatever you want to do and then go to business school or do anything like that after. I'm an engineer who's going to end up in business school. So it really speaks to that level. And at the same time, we do have the economics major. But what has been stressed to me so many times by economics professors is that the econ major is not a business major and to not take it if you're looking at it for that. So
definitely.
We don't have that pre-business major. We don't have a pre-health major or anything like that. Our majors are in a specific focus and department and stuff like that, so like English or stuff like that. But there are resources like Clark's classes in the Tuck School or other majors and stuff like that, or the pre-health track that help you to be able to get that experience and that leg up and get you ready and prepared for these graduate schools.
Definitely.
But while still being here at Dartmouth and focusing on your liberal arts undergraduate education.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's
Yeah.
a great way to explain it.
Yes. So this question would be a really good one for you to answer, Mark. Again, from
Okay.
Joe B. For the freshmen, what's the academic transition like?
Oh, wow. So for me personally, I think it's been a pretty good academic transition, Joe. So the way I feel about the quarter system is that, as we were talking about before, it's a 10-week term. So yes, the material does move pretty fast, and it has been a little bit challenging coming from my high school. But that being said, because you're only taking 3 classes and because of the fact that you have a lot of free time, it's a really small campus, you can get right to the library if you need to study, you really do have the time and the resources available to get all of your work done in a manageable way. For example, I personally haven't had any really late nights till 3 in the morning studying, and I've really been able to get my work done sufficiently.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I actually just had one last night preparing for my midterm.
Oh, no.
No, it was great. It was a lot of fun studying at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. And something interesting that I found about the transition, people come to Dartmouth, you only take 3 classes, and classes are about an hour a day. So you're only in class for 9 hours a week because classes are offered 3 times. That's more that we'll get into later. Class only happens for about 9 hours a week. But in high school, some kids are in class for 9 hours a day. So people really think that coming to college is going to be underwhelming. But because of the fast pace of Dartmouth, and everything going on, it is a transition, and there definitely is. It takes some time to become used to school here, but I think that it's a very easy transition. And if you're having a hard time, you have these resources that we've talked about again and again during this episode that are there for you and there to help you and make sure that you're getting through with your transition and doing well and excelling as a student. So.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy that you guys were with us today, and we had some great questions, and we're happy to keep answering those for a couple minutes after we wrap up. I want to thank you, Mark, for sitting in with us today.
Thank you.
No problem.
It was great fun for Jay and myself.
Yeah, and so we talked about the D plan. We alluded to the off terms and leave terms a little bit. Next week's episode of Office Hours Dartmouth Edition will focus more on those off terms and leave terms instead of the residence terms and classes and stuff like that. So sorry to leave you hanging, but tune in next week for more information on that kind of stuff and more about the D plan. Thanks again for watching. See you guys. And don't forget, Office Hours Student Edition Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys.
See ya. Thank you.